Hey, what's up guys? Bucky here, just in Bali, just wrapping up 2 weeks of programming. Wanted to connect in and share with you kind of some best practices in wrapping up an event and what it can look like. I know that a lot of us are building events, maybe for the first time. There's a lot of us that are looking to get better at the things that we do. So one of the things that's really important when you're closing out an event is to really get feedback from the participants so that you can have a clear picture of how the event went and what are some things that you can do to upgrade that program. So I've been spending the last couple days, and this is what we call this period. I've been on program for 2 weeks, but this period right after the event is kind of like a mush period. But before I get into that phase of really just relaxing the body and taking care of the things that I need and filling myself back up, one of the things that I do with all my clients is to sit down and to go through the flow. And this is, every single event that I do has, kind of a structured flow. It's a kind of by hour, by minute clarity about what pieces are going to be presented and how it all looks. And then throughout the event, what I'm doing in transformational event hacking is I'm, constantly taking, different notes on that information and looking at, what are some of the outcomes that we have? What are some of the things that we can do to more effectively achieve those outcomes? How are people responding? What's working, what's not working? What are some notes as far as facilitation? And I take those notes both on the flow and then on, like a workbook or manual, and saying, okay, what are the things that we can adjust within that? What are the things that are working and not working? And then from that assessment, again, getting some time and space for the participants to then fill out an eval form, which just kind of goes through the different content, gives them a scale of what they liked, what they didn't like, scale of 1 to 10 type of thing. Give them an opportunity to write some testimonial if there's some testimonial there or some things that they would adjust. And then taking those two things combined and saying, okay, how can we continuously be growing? And that's the thing about, live events and even online programs, is that content needs to be constantly growing. I think a lot of transformational programs get kind of stuck in the way things are, or the sacredness of the content and the way that things have been. And I think one of the things, especially as young developers and young speakers and presenters, is to constantly look at, okay, how can we improve this? How can we improve this? How can we improve this? How can we get this to be more effective? How can we deliver this experience more effectively? And then you get to a point where, things are great. And then the facilitation starts to take over and you have a little bit of play as far as what that looks like from event to event. So those are the big things. The other things that come up for me after event is just taking some time for you. As a speaker, we give so much energy to support our audiences, and one of the things that has been profound for me in working events is this idea of giving and receiving, and that giving and receiving is actually really a singular act. And in this process of running transformational events or working with people, there's so much giving that you're doing, and sometimes you forget about the receiving part of it, and knowing that that is happening simultaneously. So one of my practices over the last 15, 16 years has been to, in the times of completion of event, just to get really clear about what it is that I want to create in my life, whether that has to do with my business life or whether that has to do with my personal life. There's a space or an energy that opens up post-event once you've done some serious work with people and created some really life results, and there's an opportunity for you to have some growth and to have some fulfillment yourself. And part of what is needed for that is just being clear about what it is that you're focused on. So every single event I look at the different assessment of who I am, and I say, hey, what's important for me right now? What are the things that are I'm needing a little bit more energy towards, or needing a little bit more flow towards, and how can I put my attention on that, and knowing that I have some energy behind me right now, what are some things that I can get some momentum with? So that's another amazing practice. The other piece is also getting feedback from your staff. So doing interviews with your staff or doing extended assessment forms with your staff is, again, one of the things that is incredibly valuable when we talk about constantly growing or having the relentless pursuit for growth and for impact within your curriculum. It's kind of like becoming a facilitator or being involved with content design is really about the infinite ascent. It's the understanding that, the more that you walk this path, and you realize that there's more to walk. And if you can have that mindset within all the things that you do around your content, around your facilitation, around your logistic, around your event orchestration, then you start to produce some really extraordinary outcomes. And it just becomes so so exceptional that it really starts not only from an impact level, make a difference, but from a marketing level, really separate you from the people who aren't doing that. So I have a bunch of resources. If you're interested in with them, I can send you some sample flows. I can send you some sample manuals. I can send you some sample feedback forms. Just private message me if you're interested, and I'll send them to you. So, I want to make sure that the work that I do is contributing to as many people as I can. And I was having a conversation this morning that was just really about legacy and why do I do the things that I do? Why am I in transformational event hacking? Why is it important for me to support other people? And I think one of my gifts is really seeing the best in people and seeing opportunities in people. And it's always, and coaching is so important because you can never really see your life from the perspective of your life. And you can, and you have to be pretty clever to do that. And you have to be pretty present to do that. And I think, sometimes that outside perspective is, not sometimes, but most times that outside perspective can really lead you to the places that you want to lead or be in. So part of the reason why I do want to do the work that I do is it's about legacy. It's about impact. It's about impacting the world in a different way that's outside of my own market. Part of the work that I do is really about personal expansion. It's about kind of extreme spirituality. It's pushing your limits. It's challenging yourself. It's high grading inner work, and that's not for everybody, to that degree. So I look for people that I can leverage with, where I can help them build content, help them build curriculum, and then have them take that off, and have them really impact people in a way that's unique to them. And what that does for me is that it creates legacy for me. It creates impact that's beyond my physical doing. And beyond my physical knowing, and I don't really even need to know. I just, I'm just honored to be in the space of supporting people to do what they love and to impact the planet in the way that's unique to them. And I'm happy to support from the sidelines. I'm happy to be the wind in the sails. I'm happy to craft those things and not necessarily be acknowledged for it, because that's not what it's really about. It's just about creating impact. It's about transforming the consciousness of the planet and doing the work that I can in all the moments I can in all the ways that I can. So again, if you're interested in some information, if you want some sample flows, if you want some sample feedback forms, if you're looking for some sample manuals, how to structure some things, private message me and I'm happy to send that to you guys. All right, so wishing you the best in all the programs that you're up to. Continue to be you, continue to transform not only the people around you, but looking inwards and taking you on as your best client, and continue to do what you love. And we'll talk to you soon. Love you guys. Peace.